So the next one in my creativity hacks are about sleep and stopping. Um, for me, because I paint emotions and what's going on for me there and then, and also my link to what I noticed and what inspired me originally, I paint very quickly. So it's a real sprint type sort of stuff. It's sort of an outpouring of mark making and colour and expression, and that will only go for so long, and then I'll hit a block, and I don't try and force it. At that point, I stop, and then as I said in the previous hack, I might switch to the next painting, which will inspire me. But it's also I'm really noticing what's going on for me, noticing my energy, noticing what's inspiring me, noticing when I'm beginning to feel really blocked, and at that point, I go and stop. I go for a walk. I go and make myself a cup of tea. I go and mull about something else. But normally, going and having a break really helps. So again, while I'm talking about art practice with all of this, this is common for all creative practices. Some people may have a technique that works really well for them about forcing through. For me, that doesn't work. The way forward for me is stopping. I also talked in the previous one about sleeping. So allowing your brain time, and your mind even, to process. And so I find, certainly for work-based mind trip challenges, actually having that time to just almost put it to bed mentally and not really think about it, and just know that I'll have a sense of things the next day. Sometimes I don't, but quite often I find that my thinking has changed. So going from that immediate knee-jerk reaction to a more considered or creative approach, where I've come at it and normally when I am a bit stuck, it's because there's something competing. There are two different pulls, two different values. Something's in conflict, and so I need time to honour both, or the different elements of that. So in sleep and stopping are key, I think, in any creative practice. And noticing, I think what image that comes to mind is like a wellspring, and we can keep on plundering it and pushing it and trying to drag up the water, but somewhere along the line it may run dry. So it's finding ways to keep on re-engaging and energizing that wellspring, by getting out there, being in community, collaborating, doing the things that you enjoy and inspires you, but also having that rest time, that downtime, and just trusting that the process and what engages you will kick back in. So I had a difficult time a few years ago and found that actually I didn't want to paint, and so I didn't. I just didn't try and force myself. But I do find that there are different ways of painting, and I know it sounds a bit strange, but it was still going on in my head. I was sort of mentally painting in my head. I was seeing views and sort of mentally painting those views and noticing. So I might not necessarily have been putting stuff down on canvas. So I do find sometimes, because I paint very quickly and in surges, so I might not do anything for a long time and then do a surge and then nothing for a long time, which works well for me. Whereas other people have a practice which is a little every day. So it's just noticing what creates energy for you, what works for you. And I find that those downtimes, those spaces in between, are as important in terms of mulling, creating, making links. so that when I then come back to actually working and painting, something really quite interesting and exciting comes out. And I don't quite often know what it's going to be. And that, and it can be a bit scary sometimes, you know, think, oh goodness, have I forgotten how to paint? So yeah, trusting that space, that stopping, and the power of sleeping and using your unconscious. That's it for now.